Okay, I just want to do a real short video on how to use OBS for streaming kind of provincial events for the ASAA. So the first thing that I would do is go to OBS, just Google search. It's a free download. I'm on a Windows machine right now, and you can see the download is starting there. So I don't need that happening, but you would download that, install that piece of software. That's your first step. After that, it should be fairly straightforward. When you first go to open up OBS, you have one initial scene. I really like OBS because it's a pretty straightforward piece of software to use. And so I'd open up this scene here. Lots of times you would want to add more scenes by just kind of clicking the little plus button down in the corner. Here you can add as many scenes as you want. I could have a pre-game scene, click OK, and maybe then I want to move that up my hierarchy here, and then maybe I want to have rename this one, the original one, to game, and then I would have possibly I could have a post game or a halftime if I wanted to. So it's pretty straightforward. Anyways, my pre-game scene, usually I'd add sources, so these would be just kind of layers I can add to my scene. So if I'm on pre-game, oftentimes I would add maybe an icon image, because sometimes it's my robotics club that's running this, so I'd maybe call this just logo or something like that. I'll just kind of browse quickly. I should be able to browse through and grab any kind of image. I'll just go quickly and grab our kind of Bulldogs logo here, and so I could add an image there, and then I just move this throughout the scene, resize that, and then if I wanted to add another element, I could add a text element, say sure, text intro, maybe I call it, and then add some text there. The game will begin shortly. And so the pre-game scene would be a good scene for me to have prior to the game when I first kind of start up, just to let people know the game is going to come on. I think I want to change my size, that's a little bit big. But all these controls are fairly straightforward. And then you can just adjust things as you go. Click OK, that looks okay. However you want to have your pregame. That's obviously I do probably a little bit more than that. Then when I get to my main game scene, so I can always flip between scenes as the stream is running. Once the stream is running, I would just have it clicked over here. But pregame may be put on for a couple of minutes, and then usually I go to the game when warm-ups, and I usually mute the mic at that time. Now the game scene we're going to set up right now. Usually you do this stuff ahead of time, get the game scene ready to go. So the first probably main thing that you're going to want to add is your video capture. And so if I click plus here, my video capture device, as long as I have camera, webcam, iPad, sometimes you need extra software for iPad and other cameras and things like that. I'm just going to add a webcam here really quick. So I'll just call it that, webcam. Click OK, and then it's going to give me options for all the video capture devices that are plugged into my computer. In this case, it's a Microsoft LifeCam. You can see it's just pointed at me right now, but obviously I have that pointed at the field. There's some default settings here you can kind of take a look at, but for the most part, I don't play with them usually a whole bunch. Leave them at the defaults and click OK. Then you just expand this to however you want. It depends on your view. Sometimes you might need to have a cutoff like that, but sometimes you can get away with expanding for the whole screen, which I think is probably the best. And then I would add the second, so this would be on the field, or in this case it's on me. If you want to add a second camera for the score clock, sometimes that works well, so you can add as many cams as you want. You just add another video capture device, plug in another camera. That would be okay. If you're going to use an iPad as a camera, use this iOS capture. But generally we just use a virtual score clock, and my kids will watch the score and just emulate whatever was on the scoreboard with a virtual score clock. So I will post a link to just one we made in my computer science class just in the comments after the video, and we'll just I'll show you how to use that one right now. So when I give that link, it'll just be a zip file, and it'll be to this score bar app. One thing I wasn't able to do very well is I wasn't able to embed this font, so maybe install this font first and then hit the setup. I'll put all these files in a zip file and I'll post it in the comments as a shared file, so you can use that if you want. As a scoreboard, I also have in the Windows Store, I actually have a score clock app that I made years back that's also free, and you can download that here if you it's called Score Clock. And if you go in the Windows Store, it's just a free download as another option too, and it can serve as a virtual score clock as well. It does other features, but it works for this purpose. Anyways, I'm going to show you how to use that. So first of all, I'd open that whatever piece of software you're going to use as a score clock. In this case, it's that score bar app that we made in my computer science class. And the way we designed this was we put kind of a control panel at the top. This is for volleyball provincial, so we didn't need a clock itself. We just need to be able to run score like this and whatever. If you want a different kind of a score clock, just contact me and I can probably get one of my kids to make something, or I'll make something myself and send you for a different sport. But this is for volleyball. It was made specifically for volleyball. So you can see you start with 2 timeouts per set. You can go scroll up your sets 1 here, and then you just have your score all the way up to 25. You can do for both teams there with the plus minus zeros. My other app that was published to the Windows Store actually has hotkeys. You can use arrows on your keyboard as well. But for this, I think it's just simpler to use this one. So this score clock, now that it's open, I can add it as a video source if I go back into OBS. So I just go window capture. I'm just going to call it scoreboard. It's just going to come up into my layers here. You can see it's picking up a different piece of software here, so I need to actually scroll and see, okay, well, what software do I want? It's Score Bar is the name of this app we designed in class. So click that. I usually don't want to have the cursor, because when I'm clicking on stuff or moving my cursor around, I don't want to see that. So I turn that off usually, and then I just click OK. And you can see now I can resize my scoreboard, put it out wherever the heck I want. In this case, I'm going to put it up in here, and I kind of hide that control panel usually. And that makes that, I can stick it in the top left corner, top middle, just depends on what your filming setup looks like. And then I should be kind of good to go for my pre-game setup. And then you can see when my kids are watching the game, and once we have the stream going, their only job is to kind of watch the game and just keep up with the score. And so they're just going to duplicate that as we go. You can add logos as well. We put in that functionality so you can add in logos if you want. There's kind of our Robotics Club logo there. And then, I don't know, we could have Cardston or something. Just don't know, CCH. Anyways, and you can add names to it too. WCHS, LCI. If I add that in the score, it doesn't make sense, but CCH. Anyways, if I add it up here in the control panel, it's going to reflect that on the scoreboard. So, fairly simple app to use that we just designed for this purpose. As long as you keep it open and live, it's going to appear up at the top. And so that's it for my kind of pregame setup. I could have a post-game message if I wanted, flip to that scene, but you can see the scenes are set up just like this, and you can scroll through them quickly. Okay, for ASAA, in order to set up your stream, you just go to the settings right here, so click on the settings, go to the stream, and then you're going to enter in. So go to custom. It's set to YouTube to start, so it can be confusing because we are going to post to the ASAA YouTube. But go to custom, and then whatever stream keys you get, you can see I've added some already. But these will be blank when you first get here, and you'll get these from whoever's in charge of the ASAA. For me, it was Shelby. She sent me these stream keys, and then I had a bunch of keys for all my streams. Okay, this is the URL is what you enter under the server. So if I was going to grab this, I'd go copy link, and I'd enter that under the server, paste. That didn't work. This happened to me yesterday too. You need to make sure you don't copy the link, because you know, on our system, because our school district, I think, has a policy that messes with the links there. So just wait a second. I'm going to copy from Teams here. I need to get the actual copy. Just make sure this is right. You can type this in as well, and then you would do your stream key, and these will be generated by the ASAA and provided. These are just test keys that we tested the other day, and put in the stream key once you have that, and then you just click apply and OK. Okay, I'm not going to do that for right now, but just apply OK, and then for right now I'm going to cancel. Anyways, once that is in, you click apply and OK. You can just click when the game starts, or say 15 minutes before the game starts, hit start stream. Right now I'm getting an error on this home PC, but you won't get an error if you got a good graphics card or whatever. But if you hit start stream here, it's gonna be good. You'll get some information down at the bottom here that's telling you how your stream is going. Okay, and then you should be able to check in a few minutes if that's live. Once the game's over, you should hit stop stream. It'll just be in the same spot, stop stream, and it's going to be okay. You can record at the same time, but YouTube archives on its own, so I don't think there's much point in that. Just as long as you hit start stream, it's going to be good. YouTube's going to archive in 24 hours. Be careful. I always try to mute the mic during the warm-up. Most parents kind of want to watch the warm-up, so I don't stay on pregame very long. I go to the game. But I mute the mic during warm-up, and then I turn it on in game. Most parents want to hear the game. Just make sure your kids aren't talking while you do that. And then, but I turn this off in pregame because the pregame music's going to pull up some copyright flags on YouTube, and they might struggle archiving the next day. They might get a thing where you'd have to edit the video to archive it. So I make sure I mute that through the pregame and then turn on the mic in game. Okay, that's a pretty quick rundown of OBS and how to use it. Really simple piece of software to use. Pre-game, game, post-game. Okay, and then you just have layers here that you can shuffle however you want. You can see if I pulled this down below, I couldn't see my scoreboard anymore, but it's because the layer is there. I'll put a link to this software in the comments of this video once I get this up. Hopefully that is a little bit helpful. Yeah, thanks.